Hi, my name is Al Arballo, and I was the creator of Altruistic Channel. And this message is a message of hope. I have recently come in contact with quite a few people who are feeling a specific kind of way, and I've struggled with whether or not I would come out and directly address it for fear, I guess. But the fear is gone. In its place, I just feel dead inside. And so before others that I may be supposed to be leading get to the point where they are where I'm at, I thought I would address it. The people that this affects are above intelligent. They recognize patterns that they don't necessarily understand why they are singular in understanding them. They have recently become gypsies, if you will, or forced out of their homes, betrayed by their friends who purposely got them thrown out. They feel isolated and alone. Most are suicidal. They're struggling to pay ends meet despite the fact that they have no addictions or no reasonable explanation for why they can't. For me, my accounts have been frozen. Everything that I try does not work. I have singularly by myself built 6 websites that no one came to. All of my friends have turned their backs on me. I've taken personal responsibility for everything up until now, and I'm done. I wrote a book that no one reads. I've created amazing art that no one buys. And everyone that I've ever loved hates me. And I don't feel anything anymore. But as all of this has come down, it started 2 years ago. And all of this is very important for those of you who feel or have encountered what I have. 2 years ago, I was okay, and my life was great. I received 2 paintings, and that is also very key. One entranced me, darker. Second, lighter, and held hope. The first one I came to understand was a message, probably, which is going to sound ridiculous, from myself or someone who knew me better than I knew myself. In the corner of the piece, for me, was a message: you cannot square root a circle. Followed by Super 88, which I, of course, realized was a double infinity symbol. It held my head for a while because of the fact that I wrote that when I was in 6th grade. And I could not remember it at first, but it triggered something. And then I went down the rabbit hole and I started to do the math. And the numbers 432 came up, and multiples thereof. And the computer kept coming up. The computer being very, very key. And I started to question something as basic as, why is it that back in the day when we were growing up, we did not know, 94% of our brain. One day I woke up and we did know, but now we didn't understand that we could not rationalize how the universe only was I'm having trouble speaking now. Only consisted of 6% light matter, and that 94%, the number 94, kept popping up of dark matter, and that we didn't understand if and how we would rationalize that. Then we discovered that we did not know how to police all of the internet, because a lot of the internet is considered the dark net. And so my brain started to wonder, quite rightfully so, how could we then put these artificial intelligence machines into our homes with our children and specifically to help autistic kids communicate, if we could not rationalize or understand how the universe that these robots existed in worked. How can you police that? And so I started to look at the patterns, and as a pattern recognizer, I've always had that intelligence. It wasn't anything new. Strategically, I started to wonder other questions. And so the more I looked at things, the more I discovered that there may be something matrixy to the universe. But I rationalized it as God. I rationalized it as the universe, or whatever you believe in, because I don't believe in a different faith. I believe that faith is very important to humanity. But long, I think we've been so focused on the singular human existence that I no longer can rationalize it. Why live now singularly when so many of us are being awoken to the fact that we're supposed to be living collectively for the grander design, not just about us and our immediate family? The problem is, the more I started to look at it, I started to realize that I wasn't crazy, that these things bared no ill will towards anybody. If anything, I'm more patriotic to my country. I'm more loyal to my friends that have betrayed me and been turned against me. I have done everything I can to save us, in the sense of not being distracted with the confetti effect. Patterns emerge very quickly when you just look, guys. And the more I looked, the more I just started to ask the question, well, why don't we ask questions like XYZ? And then that would lead down to, oh, well, okay, let me talk to a physicist. And a fucking physicist showed up at my bar to answer my questions that next morning. And I started to wonder exactly how much control we have as human beings. And I realized that we are creators. And so my brain started to ask questions that were weird. Like, well, if I can manifest destiny and bring someone like a physicist into my bar in the middle of nowhere, then I wonder if I've actually ever created planets or created other species. Or are those memories that I am rekindling like that painting did? And then the Mandela effect happened, and the number 1111 came up. And it reminded me of my 6-9 sequence that I always had. And something in my head kept reminding me that I was the youngest of 9, which would make me 8. And I couldn't understand what the hell I was talking about. And these puzzling little things started to make me feel more and more isolated. And my friends started to turn their backs on me because they couldn't understand what I was trying to say. And that led more confusion. Because as someone above normal IQ over 130, I've never second-guessed someone else's idea of things. I've thought the imagination was a wonderful place and that we should spend more time in helping our kids create these fantastical ideas, because science comes from the ridiculous. It should not escape a logical brain that somebody back in the day supposedly had the intelligence to think, I can somehow funnel my voice into a wire and I'm going to project it across the globe. Wow. I still am like not even anywhere near capable of doing it. And that took a big leap of faith. And so in no way am I saying that faith doesn't exist. But then something happened. I started to get too much information. And the patterns came out more and more. Something as basic as I'd be going down the same street I've traveled 100 times. And on the way to the store to get cigarettes, which, by the way, don't be hypocrites. Don't sit there fat as can be and bitch me out for smoking a cigarette when you can't even see your dick. Like, it's just stupid. And then humanity, here's the thing, guys, and I'm not being antagonistic, but how can you celebrate free-range roaming chickens and then house our own human beings in cells? The hypocrisy has to stop, but that's neither here nor there. As I began to go down it, I became more and more isolated. And with each new stress test that I would undergo, I got upset. And I started to just be like, look, I never signed up for this. And I started to notice the patterns along the way. So 3 signs would come up on the same path that I just passed, and suddenly they would be a different color. And they had nothing to do with each other. It would be like 3 houses suddenly became like a business. And I would look at it, and I would think for a second, okay, that can't be right. And I'd keep going. And so finally, it became so noticeable that I started to realize that I was engaging in something matrixy. But why tell the rats they're in a maze? And it kept bugging me. And so I started to research online. And I started to realize that I was here to guide leaders and to help leaders understand the varying intelligence like spatial intelligence, statistical intelligence, and all of these things that are going to further man into what I believe now to be the collective race. And the more I spoke about it, the more I started to find that it was not just me. There are thousands of us that are awakened now. But we're persecuted. And I'm not being dramatic when I say that. All of us have received paintings randomly that we did not request. One light, one dark. All of us have been molested thus far. All of us have a propensity for, or I don't know if that's the right word at this point, but I'm just so tired and I could care less. All of us prefer uppers, not downers. All of us have no addictional issues. We actually are able to do drugs or not do drugs. We have no withdrawals if we walk away. And suddenly now we're all finding ourselves unable to get something that the government has made us addicted to. And I find that interesting. I have everybody in my life turned against me, but here I am. I had my best friends get me kicked out of my apartment purposely and then blame me for it. I've been pushed essentially to commit suicide. But here's the thing about suicide. Suicide is something that you do to yourself. That's not what's happening here. We're being executed. You cannot say that it's coincidence that all 6 of the websites that I built failed. Okay, that's me. Then I suddenly am able to draw and create beautiful art. No one buys. I write a book. No one reads. I get it published. Nothing. All the numbers and sequences, gone. They don't work. All my emails now, I cannot access. People that I love are gone. I've watched people die of overdoses that are improbable because they've done drugs longer than I probably could even tell you, and suddenly they died. I don't buy it. These are brilliant minds that started me on my path. All of us are now destitute. The homeless population is not full of crazies. Logical thinking beings like me that just happen to notice that something's not right. It is not God's plan for us to have this future. And I know it for a fact that we are the leaders that are supposed to guide the next wave of those who wake up through this 2 years of absolute turmoil and guide them and help them make it. But we're supposed to have been picked up, or by now we're supposed to have an understanding of what we're doing. Something is blocking me intentionally, and I'm the only one who knows it. And the problem I'm facing is that if I'm supposed to then lead people out of the wonderful slumber they're in, where am I supposed to lead them to? These 2 years of absolute hell, where we will lose half of them to suicide because they are executed? I can't do that. I can't promise someone that life is going to get better while my life is in shambles. Do you know how hard it is, leaders of tomorrow, to know that this is foretold and that we are here on purpose, and understand that no one is going to love me or care about me, and that I might die alone, and I'm okay with that. I've never asked why God created us. I've never wondered why we're here. I've never so much as done anything unethical in my life. And now I'm finding myself where I can't make a living. And as of one day from now, less than 24 hours, I will be on the street like trash. Because I notice patterns and because I have intelligences you don't. I'm just supposed to guide people. I'm not telling them to not believe in God or not to believe in a Muslim faith. I'm telling people to start using their brain at seeing things because they don't have a choice. It's not just us. All of us are waking up. You cannot prescribe children Adderall and then persecute them because they end up doing speed, which, by the way, is not addictive to some of us because I don't need it. If I do it, it's just boring now. But yet I'm not allowed to get it now. And then every time that I've tried to get it, this is like in past tense, but anytime I had tried to get it, I got fake stuff. So more money was taken from me. But you're the one who gave it to me in the beginning. Adderall. Then you give all of these people fentanyl, but then tell them they can't kill themselves. Meanwhile, you don't tell them how to use it. You have all of our people in jail, and those of us who don't go outside of the law are now being pushed onto the streets as homeless. That's genocide. That is not, by any means, something that God intended. But that's the other part that's bugging me. So as a leader, I'm supposed to lead them into this new, what? Hell on earth? If this is purgatory, let me give you a newsflash. It is not supposed to end with us staying in purgatory. Those of us who are leaders are supposed to help guide the sleepers out of purgatory to heaven. Whatever your idea of heaven. So your reaction to terminate our lives and to make it impossible for us to exist is absolute genocide. So as I close my Facebook account now, I say goodbye to the sleepers. You won't understand me anyway. To my friends that are part of my team, I'm sorry I was not strong enough. But I know for a fact I did not come onto this planet to go through this. And if I've agreed to the burden of leading people out, I would have wanted to be at least secure, financially at least able to pay for my food and a place to live. I do not believe that humanity is capable of no one ever being loyal to someone else. I do understand that I've been targeted and I don't feel anger. I don't feel anything. But I warn that to the people or things or whatever is keeping us down, and the reason that I'm being forced to choose what I have to choose, tomorrow I will be gone. You will be tried. I guarantee it. You cannot execute beings that all they want to do is pose questions. You cannot force them into insane asylums because some of us are not going ever to be crazy. We're based in logic, math, sciences, sacred geometry, alchemy, all of it. And how dare you persecute alchemists but celebrate a pharmacist? You can't be that naive. The world that you've created, I renounce. And wherever I end up, even if it's just me jumping into the Mississippi tomorrow night, I was forced there. I've never lost hope in humanity. I never will. But I have answers to questions that we need, and I've been persecuted. I'm no one. And to all of you who've received the paintings, who have been molested, understand that it's to guide you into independence. That's where the molestation came from. Understand that in 1990 something major happened in your life. Understand that in 1999 something else would change your world. Then again in 2017, and the next will be 2026. We were supposed to be picked up by now. Not by aliens or anything stupid like that. But we're supposed to be educating the next wave of leaders to understanding patterns that are indicative to our survival, God does not make mistakes, whatever you believe, the God, the universe, or the matrix. They are making us more and more aware of things because they're trying to warn us of something that we're doing wrong. I believe that something in the future changes everything, and it starts somewhere around now. But where there is any type of force, there is opposing force. It's the law. I've never done anything to anybody. I don't denounce any religion. I believe in us. And I believe that we are the salvation for ourselves. Some of us are gifted with intelligences that you may not understand. A lot of your children do not speak to your grandparents because they are complete polar opposites. Intended that way. It's called balance. Something or someone has decided to shift balance. And they're ruining a lot of people's lives. God did not intend that. So for those of you who will live on, and for those of you who decide to go on, fight. Fight because it's grander than you. Look at your niece or nephew, even if you don't like them, and you fight for their survival. You fight for the knowledge of what makes some of us spatially intelligent. Why is it some of us can electronically shock things? Why is it some of us are capable of draining batteries no matter where we go? Why is it I can stop time? What are the reasons that people can literally short circuit computer systems? All of these things are important. It's not happenstance. These are not anomalies. It's meant to be by the grand design itself. I am not a martyr. And I am not okay with being forced to choose between death and committing suicide, or guiding an entire race of people into this nightmarish hell where there's no one to help them. I did not sign on for this, and neither did they. So, call me crazy. I don't care about your opinion anyway. If you really are that concerned with what I think, then understand a couple things. You're not one of us. If you are one of us, you're going to be outraged at the fact that I have gone through all of this and I am supposed to guide them into this. That is an impossible choice that God would never have wanted for me. And the fact that I'm being forced to choose the possibility of walking off of something and jumping into the Mississippi tomorrow to end it all because I can't die any other way is not acceptable. If this is purgatory, we have ways out, and we're supposed to guide people out. That is a good thing. If we're supposed to help people stay true to their faith, then we have to give them faith in something. But you can't make me bring my team into something I have no faith in right now. How can you allow something or someone to block everything it would take to keep me alive when I'm fighting for survival and doing everything I'm supposed to do within the perimeters you've given me? That's cheating. And not just cheating, that is genocide. And so those of you who this reaches, you're looking for others who feel dead inside. And you're going to help them. Band together. You're looking for people who understand the numbers 432, understand 111, 69, 369. You're looking for people who understand 1990, 1999, 2017, and 2026. You have people who understand the words perspective, alchemist, and the other words I've used. They will feel dead inside, and they will have people that have done stuff that have made them either lose their homes or making them want to flee their homes because they don't rationally understand them anymore. These are people who see patterns and who see things that others don't, who are now feeling crazy, but that you perfectly clearly understand. You're going to have children who don't understand why they don't get things the way that they do. They will be able to work a problem backwards like I can, where you take a calculus exam or a calculus test and you look at the answer and then you literally work your way in your brain backwards to what the problem could possibly have been. That's not normal. That's an intelligence that I have. There are architects with a spatial intelligence that can look at a piece of paper or a diagram and draw a building that don't even need to see the fucking building. There are autistic children throughout the world who are leaders. They are not meant to be studied. They are to guide us, and they are brilliant and to be celebrated and studied in the right way with honor. You know, it's not a secret that my IQ is over 130. And the one thing about the 130s to 145s is that we're the few people who understand what the 146s to above are saying. It's not a mistake. God meant it that way. We're the sweet spot. We're full of INTFs and INTJs that are introspective. But you're going to be looking for people who go beyond that and actively have either been forced by their parents to act against their nature, become cheerleaders, or popular like me, who've had reality shifts where one day it's one reality and the next day they walk into school and suddenly are their most popular beings. They will question the everyday stuff. They will say things that are matter of fact because it's not a negative to question things. It's logic. Find them the school that I dreamt of building. Educate them on using that sixth sense. Understand that there's so much of our brains that is now awakening. It is not a violation of humanity or of God. It's a celebration thereof. And empower them. Don't destroy them. Save my Zach. Save my Caroline. Save my Tiny. Save all of my people. There is a girl empowerment that I met who I really care about. I barely know her. There's a husband that I know I meant to have somewhere down the road that I will not get to meet now. I am so dead inside that I walked into work today, and despite my friend having another friend having died, nothing. But the problems that occurred today were so mundane and so stupid to me that I walked away. Do not leave us, whatever the powers that be that are supposed to be interceding on our behalf. Do not leave them like me. I am no one. I'm not special. Tomorrow's my last day. But if my choice is only to die and have to relive this again, or lead these innocent people into damnation, I won't do it. I asked you to show me and my team that there was a light at the end of the tunnel, and you failed. My God would not do that. My entire platform has been to help humanity. I've asked for help from police and from people to help me just in general life, and nothing. I have been erased off of this planet, and so, sadly, I guess I give in. You were supposed to pick us up. There's a school I wanted to build. I saw it when I was a kid. I know that I've lived this over and over again. And I know that when I decide to do what I need to do tomorrow, that means that I did it again. For those of you who will go on, you know that feeling of deja vu? It's not you realizing you've done it before. You already know you've done all this before. Deja vu is the indication that you chose something different for once. It's your body and your soul telling you that you have a path before you and that you have chosen a new one. See, the universe wants us to find the solutions that it questions, and that we're supposed to return information, in my belief. I don't know if all that's true. I'm the first person to say I don't know shit. But the fact that I have been executed and have been left to die on my own, and that I'm left to not care, leaving all of the leaders that I dream of leading. We have the answers. You can solve the world hunger issue. America alone, just tweak the way you say things. You cannot get E. coli from every fucking thing. You can save the salad that hit the table that is not on the actual physical table of a, like, let's say you're in a restaurant and you bring out a vat and the vat hits the station, but there's no meat and no dairy and no fish, and you put it there and no one touches it. You can take that vat and feed the homeless. You can save lives. You can take a brilliant mind that is speaking in rational tone and you can educate them to lead other people like them, to save lives. There are medical practitioners who have ideas to solve the world problems. There are people who can understand spatial intelligence and figure out the dynamics to life. They can figure out these things if you let them. But instead, we're all homeless, and most of us probably will not make it. That is inexcusable. And those who are doing it, whatever the power be, you will never get me and my soul, or whatever it is, to thank you for training me to die inside. You will never hear me say that there's educational value to what I'm watching you do to my people, to my team. Suicide is on the rise and will continue to rise. Someone out there must see this and step in on our behalf. I am tired of living this life over and over and over again, but I will always choose the same out if my only options are to kill myself because the right people that were supposed to step in waited too long, because I had to learn something their way. No, it does not work that way. Or lead a group of people into damnation and purgatory without the ability to guide them out and to then trap me in purgatory. I understand that some of us chose to stay and lead them out, but that doesn't mean that you just leave us. I'm ready to go. So by tomorrow night, in less than 24 hours, I'm out. And if I have to choose the first option, then that is murder. That is not suicide. Let's just be clear on that. And that's it. I hope the right people see this, and for those of you who don't understand, it wasn't meant for you. But on the best part, I don't care what you think. So, I won't be around anyway. Sorry it ended this way. I dream of your school. There will be a school. There will be lots of schools to teach intelligences, and the leaders of tomorrow will be open, and you will solve global warming. Their solutions are right in front of you. Mathematicians and scientists out there, you are so close. These dimensions are coming together at this time. You will be able to pull energy from them, and you'll be able to redisperse it in the proper ways, and you will be able to understand the dynamics to all physics, because we're meant to. It's the awakened state. I'm not a martyr, but if I have to die in order for the right beings, or the right powers that be, to step in on behalf of what they're expecting, which was us. We're not accidental. This has all been foretold. Do the research, guys. Find your numbers and your sequence. It'll pull you together properly. You guys have a lot of work to do together, and I have a lot of information, but I'm not apparently ever allowed to share it with you, and I didn't sign up for that. So, this is Al for Altruistic Channel. Goodbye, Facebook and people, and I don't know, I guess we'll find out. If you never see me again, then I'm gone.